Hello, Planet Earth. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK. My BFF Jill, 730. I'm Personnel Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations, you've made your way to the Buffington Post. Alright guys, today we're going to take a break from Buffy and we're going to review Game of Thrones, Season 5, Episode 2, The House of Black and White. Yeah, it's time to go to Bravos. So, hashtag semi-spoiler alert. I talk about the books some. I'm going to try not to talk about it so much, and if I do, I'll make it non-spoilery as pos. So, if we get into spoiler territories, jump ship. Alright, here we go. It's Game of Thrones, Season 5, Number 2, The House of Black and White.
It's time to play Family Feud!
Alright, Cersei. She has surrounded herself with, finger quotes, sycophants, and I really do enjoy the relationship between Kevin Lannister and his niece, Cersei. When Tywin was around, Kevin, did whatever Tywin wanted, but now that he's not around and Cersei's like, oh, well, this is this and that is that, Kevin's not gonna sit around and fuck with her. He's just like, no, you can ruin all of this if you want. I'm gonna go home and take care of my shit while you just ruin all of this. I like Kevin in the books. I hope that Kevin is, really explored this season. He's a fun character, and he's got some fun coming at him, so hopefully they'll stick with all that. We see Cersei, and she's doing her little council meeting, etc., etc., and this is a great juxtaposition to Daenerys, because Cersei is kind of the mad king that Barristan is warning Daenerys that she needs to not be. So we have this whole thing with Daenerys and this slave guy who, killed one of the masters, etc., etc., etc. So this was really fun. The line about, the law is what Dany really wants, even if that's not the case. She really wants for the law to be the law. And when the slave guy says, you are the law, she says the law is the law, but I think she really knows that she is the law. She's got these dragons. She could be her father if she wanted to be. And, there are some pros to that. And back to my whole 7 argument, when people pray to the mother, they pray to the mother for mercy. And this guy literally says, Mother, have mercy. They are all crying out for mercy from the mother. And so I think that's, one more nail in my theory. The Wall. Now, there is something to be said about age at the Wall, because Jon in the books is so young whenever you're in Jon chapters, because there's this magic around the Wall and there's all of this mystery around it, and it's so big and, ominous. It's this very, Harry Potter feeling to it when you're reading it in the books. It feels a lot like Hogwarts. This great big castle in the middle of nowhere, and then, you've got the Forbidden Forest beyond. It reads and it feels, when you're reading, very much like a Harry Potter book. And so, the Night's Watch, whenever they're, in their dining hall or whatever, it reads like the Great Hall scenes in Hogwarts. And so seeing it on the screen, with these older characters, and I realize that Jon and Sam are really the only ones that are aged up here, that magic of the Wall is kind of lost, and the idea that Jon would be, elected to be Lord Commander of the Night's Watch is so much more fun because he is so young in the books. And here, the scene works, and it made me laugh when Mr. Aemon, dropped his vote, but that magic of being at the Wall really is something that's lost in the show, and I need it. The show needs it, really. Other than that, at the Wall, the exchange between Selyse and Shireen was on point. That made me really excited to see what the fuck they are gonna do with Shireen, so maybe a sacrifice is in her future. I still think there's something else that they want from Shireen. I don't know, because, they want King's blood, and I'm thinking that her blood may not be so pure. I don't know. Tyrion and Varys are having this neat little talk about being in boxes and how they like to live out of the box. Out of the box. And it's fine, but again, they are going to Volantis. I was afraid they were going to skip Volantis, but I think we all know who they're going to find in Volantis. Haha. Aria. Bravos. The House of Black and White. That man was not very kindly looking, and honestly, the beginning in Bravos for Arya is kind of boring anyway, and so I like that they kind of skipped some stuff to get her just in the door. And, this is going to be really crazy no matter how they decide to tell the story, so it really doesn't matter. I don't like that the kindly man was like, oh, I'm not Jaqen Hagar, I'm no one. And again, the stranger thing. Arya is going to be no one. She is the stranger. She will come back to Westeros as somebody we do not recognize. The stranger. People pray to the stranger when they are a foreigner in a strange land. They pray to the stranger for death, and Arya is death. So, very excited to see her metamorphosis down in the House of Black and White. Now let's talk about Dorne. I was not very excited about Ilaria Sand taking all of Arianne, the Princess of Dorne. I was not excited about Ilaria Sand taking over Arianne's story. And I thought it was just me because I really, really love Arianne in the books. She's so sexy and thoughtful and entitled. And she's just a very fun, sexy, unique character. She has a very unique voice amongst everybody there. And, her whole thing about trying to, get herself the queenhood in Dorne is a very interesting subplot. And for them to kind of skip that over is something that I'm not really jiving with. And I realize that it's not just because I love Arianne so much. See, we opened the season with that prophecy in Cersei's past, where a younger, more beautiful queen would come and cast her down. So in the show right now, we've got Marjorie as the one that Cersei thinks it's going to be, and we've got Daenerys as the one that the fans think is going to be this queen. But I've got Sansa over in Bookland, who I think is going to be this queen. But by not introducing Arianne and this whole story of her trying to assume the queenhood in Dorne, it takes another competitor out. It takes that dramatic tension away to where you've only really got two contenders right now for that spot in the show. Whereas if you did introduce Arianne in this whole thing, it would give another contender to that whole idea. And I think that is just a missed opportunity that they probably didn't really think through. And maybe, I'm not a writer, nobody's paying me to do this, but I would have taken that into consideration before I just gave everything to Ilaria. Now, Ilaria, the actress who plays her, is so great. I love Dorne, I love the way it looks, I love how their accents are all different, and Ilaria Sand, she was great when she was over on Rome. Great actors. I love Prince Doran. I think that he's got a really strong, stoic face. You can always see the wheels turning behind this guy's eyes. So I don't really care about the change in physicality for the character. I just am not liking the absence of Arianne, and I think that I'm really going to end up missing her in the long run. Now, back in Meereen, Dany is up in her chambers all alone, and she turns around and, oh shit, it's Quaithe, right? It's Quaithe. Quaithe is gonna tell her some ominous, serious, what the fuck is she talking about shit? But it's not Quaithe, it's Drogon. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a dream. Drogon is gonna burn Dany, and she's gonna wake up and she's gonna wonder what her whole deal is, but it wasn't. She just saw Drogon, and they kind of looked in each other's eyes, and in this moment where everything is against her, the masters are against her, the freedmen are against her, and now she's losing her dragons too. They're all locked down there except for Drogon, and he's just like, I'll see you later. Have fun in this shithole that you've created for yourself. There's that. The Brienne and Podrick and Sansa stuff, it was fine, but at the same time, it's so out of character for Brienne. And not just out of story as far as the books go, it's out of character. Brienne is a careful creature. By this point, she's almost been raped a couple times. And she's just not going to go, I'm Brienne of Tarth, you're Sansa Stark, in the middle of this inn. It doesn't make sense for her character. And I do hope that she will chase Sansa down through the Riverlands or to Harrenhal or wherever they're going. I'm really, really hoping that they will cross through the Riverlands and we'll see Nymeria out in the woods. See, in the books, Nymeria is still alive out in the woods, and she's kind of amassing this army of wolves, and that's something I really want them to show I want that. That's pretty much all my thoughts. I'm sure I skipped over a few things, but that's because they didn't stick in my head. I hope you're having a great 2015 so far. I'm Preston L. Young. You can come right back here to the Buffington Post anytime for both the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, Buffyverse discussions, discussions on the other Slayers, my continued Season 8 coverage, and more Game of Thrones episode reviews. Today is Wednesday, April 22nd, so I will be right back here this afternoon to review Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 10, number 14, which hits shelves today. So as soon as I get off work, I will be bringing you a review for that. Yeah. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.